Today I'm going to show you easy upgrades and improvements on your bow without breaking the bank. Archery can be perceived as an expensive sport, but whether you've got a premium setup or an entry-level bow, all of the tips that I'm going to share with you today will definitely help you with your accuracy and improve your shooting ability. Probably the cheapest and easiest upgrade that you can do on your bow is to go and check your loop. Whether your loop is tied in the right way, or whether you've got knock ties tied into your knock, in where your knock position is going to be in your loop. So I've put on a loop that'll demonstrate what a lot of you guys will have on your bow. This is a standard loop that's fitted on most bows, especially the more lower end package bows. And when you start shooting the bow in this way, you are definitely going to start seeing knock pinch, etc. But what I want to show you is an easy way for you to make a change on your loop to tie in knock ties to make sure that you do not have any knock pinch whatsoever. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. The two loops I'm showing on this string here is just for demonstration purposes. Obviously you want to make sure that the loop that you are going to make the adjustments to or make the tie-ins to is in the right position. And just to give you guys an idea that this loop that's installed on this string here is 90 degrees with the rest. So make sure that before you make the adjustments on your loop, it is actually in the right position. So this loop I've tied in just to show you what a lot of your guys' loops will look like, and I want to show you what you need to do to make this that it will be perfect and that will improve your accuracy and you'll get better consistency. So before we start, make sure what I've demonstrated already, that if you do have knock pinch, you know you are going to have to make some changes. And to be honest with you, if you've got a bigger knock and you've got a loop like this installed with a bigger knock, you might end up finding the same thing. So in other words, we are going to have to make some changes on this loop if we were going to use a bigger knock on our arrows. But for the purposes of this video, this loop is perfect and I'm going to make some adjustments to this. So what you are going to have to do, and I'm using some brightly colored serving material. You can actually use any serving material that you'd like. But obviously find your 90 degrees to your rest first, and then you need to loosen up the loop a little bit. Just loosen it that you can actually spread it out a little bit. Once you've loosened your loop, you want to widen it a little bit that you've got some breathing room here in the middle. And what you are going to do is you're going to take some serving material. I'm going to give 3 full rotations, but I'm going to do granny knots on every rotation. What I'm going to do at the top, I'm going to do 1 more at the bottom. And I need to make sure that I've got slightly less than 1 millimeter of movement in the knock. I'm quickly going to do that and I'll show you the end result.
You can talk if you like.
It's pretty simple as making a normal granny knot. Just take it over and at the bottom half a rotation, give it a tie in. So another half a rotation with a granny knot there, and I'm going to finish it off by just making a double knot, and this is already going to give you a nice flush position for the knock to be in. As you can see, there's already a nice rotation there, but I'm going to have to move the bottom end of the loop a little bit wider apart. You can always move it in a little bit. I'm going to do the same at the bottom. And a quick burn down of the serving material just to make sure that that doesn't come loose. You can see there's a lot of rotation for the knock itself. Once you get to full draw, and that angle is actually pushing the ends of the loop closer together. So that is why it's important to have a little bit of movement. Make sure that the tie-ins is nice and flush, and that you've got this solid in a solid position, that this will not pull out once you get to full draw. This loop is actually a little bit on the long side. It is for demonstration purposes only. If you do want to make it shorter, you can always just loosen up the loop and just pull out the one end, cut it off and just burn it flat and then just tie it in again. But this is the optimal position, easy, cheap, and it will definitely have an impact on improving your accuracy. Something that will definitely improve your consistency and accuracy is a nose button, a kisser button. You can use a brass knock set or tie in a piece of serving here. But it is important to get a good consistent anchor point and a good reference point. And this is actually very nice if you are shooting in low light conditions at night, early mornings, late evenings. If you are going to, for instance, go shoot bushpeak at night and so on, a nose button is really nice for you to help you align your peep with your sight itself. It's a rather inexpensive add-on to the string itself, and it will always help you with getting your accuracy and your consistency to the level that you want it. Once you get into anchor, just make sure it touches your nose in a good space, in a good position, and this lines up perfectly. And to see where you need to put it, when you close your eyes, get into anchor, feel it with your nose. When you open your eyes, you'll see perfect position, and that will be the same every single time. So get it in a nice, comfortable position to make sure to have this at the right spot. Tie it in properly. If this moves up and down, obviously the consistency will not be there, but a nose button or kissing button, definitely a nice, rather inexpensive addition that will help you improve your accuracy. Something that is overlooked by so many people is the peep sight. Probably the most important thing on the string itself with the loop. It needs to be tied in properly and it needs to be perfect. The peep sight that I'm using, this is a specialty archery peep. I'm using a lens on my sight and I've got a clarifier in here. But you can use this peep sight without a clarifier itself, and you can just change the aperture size. But it is important to have the correct peep size. Some people have a very big peep. You can see so much around your sight itself, and there's no proper alignment. Something a little bit smaller, something to a medium size. But what is important is to make sure when you look through your peep that you can actually see the full housing of the sight itself. And if you do have a bubble, a level device in your sight, that you do want to see that every single time. And something to keep in mind, once you go outside into direct sunlight, your pupil's going to dilate and you are going to see less of your sight housing. And when you are shooting indoors, it's going to be the exact opposite, and you're going to see more of your sight housing. So if you are going to shoot in the woods, in a tree stand, low light conditions, make sure that you actually test your peep sight in low light conditions and in direct sunlight, that you are comfortable with the peep sight that you do have on. With the anchor position, with the nose button that I've just showed you, make sure that when you get to your comfortable anchor position, the peep is aligned in the right way. And then it is very important that you tie this in and you make sure that this will not move in any circumstances. That'll improve your accuracy and it'll definitely make you a better archer. Many bows come out with a stabilizer like this. This, in my opinion, is not really a stabilizer. This is a very lightweight bar with a rubber. It's more of a vibration dampener, if I can put it that way. But something that I do want to recommend, if you have a stabilizer of this nature and it's got a thread in the front, consider adding more weight to your stabilizer. That'll help you with your aiming process. It'll slow down the movement of the bow and it'll help you with the balance of the bow. This stabilizer here is what I'm using on the front here. This is a 12-inch stabilizer. I've added some weight in the front, more than what it normally comes out with. And then I've got, this is a 8-inch side rod at the back. Also a little bit of weight, but what I do want to show you is the balance of the bow that I want to recommend you try and achieve. When I hold it on the grip just below the shelf here, is if you look at that position and you take a piece of string and you hang it from the axle straight down 90 degrees, you'll see that that movement is going to come through the sight window in that area. When the weight is way too much in the front, your bow will probably look like this. And when you've got no weight whatsoever and the balance is not ideal, this is the kind of balance that you're gonna have. So try and find a nice balance that you are comfortable with, where it's not going to be too heavy, that you can still aim with the bow and still enjoy your archery and shoot a lot of arrows. The reason why you want to add weight to the stabilizers is to slow the movement down. That movement is going to be a lot more with less weight, and with a lot of weight it's going to be nice and steady, so it's going to be more difficult to actually torque your bow. It's going to be less twitchy. So consider looking at just getting some nice or extra weights on your stabilizers. Rather inexpensive, an easy fix for you to improve your archery. If you feel that you do want to spend some money, make an upgrade on stabilizers. Get some nice 8, 10, 12 inch on the front and a sidebar that's going to balance the bow nice and out. Definitely improvement that'll help you with your aiming, that'll calm your mind down when you're aiming and help you execute a better release. If you do shoot a lot of arrows and you've got some weight on your stabilizers, I would advise you to consider moving your let off to a lower setting. This bow has got the option that you can go from an 85, 80 to a 75 let off. If you are using a light bow with light weights on the stabilizers, 85% will be fine, but as soon as you've got more weight to the stabilizers, putting it in an 80 or 75% let off will definitely help you with your aiming even more so, and it'll be even less of a movement and twitchy effect with the lower let off. I do recommend this for people that are shooting a little bit more, that are shooting fit, and let's rather say for more to the intermediate to advanced archers. So a nice tip to fiddle. It's going to cost you no money, it's just going to take you time, so consider doing that. Very easy thing to check at home also is draw length. Draw length has got a massive influence on how the bow aims and how consistent you will be and how accurate you will be. And you've seen this so many times, and how do you measure draw length? I'll now quickly run through one or two techniques or methods on how you check draw length. It's obviously the wingspan method from fingertip to fingertip. And you divide that by 2.54 if you measure it in inches. If you measure it in inches, you divide it by 2.5. That'll give you your draw length. And if you measure this in centimeters, you divide it by 2.54 to get it into inches, and then divide it by 2.5, and that will give you your draw length. So I'm 1.86, about 6 foot tall. And my wingspan, that gives me just over a 29 inch in draw length. But what I do want to show you also, if you do have an arrow, you can just take any arrow, put it in your in your throat here, and just measure fingertip to fingertip. And once you get this will give you a 28 3/4 length. So this is quite accurate. You don't want to overextend it, but this will give you a good idea. But what I do want to show you on the bow is I've measured the actual bow itself, and I've taken this bow to full draw, and I have measured this arrow to the middle of the burger button of the bow itself. From the throat of the nock to the actual measurement that we've measured to the burger button is 27 inches, and to know what this bow is set at, you need to add 1 3/4. So this bow is set at 28 3/4. If you are not sure on what your bow is actually set at, what draw length it is set at, get the bow to full draw, measure it to the middle of the burger button, and do that measurement and add 1 3/4. Then you'll know what your actual bow is set at. If you measure that your draw length is way different from what your bow is, go to a pro shop or make the setting that you can get your draw length perfect. So important. The next thing to check is if the arrow that you are shooting from your bow is actually the correct spine, and it is as simple as just going to the manufacturer's website, going on their shaft selection chart, and just see whether the spine of the arrow matches the settings of your bow. If your bow is set at 70 pounds, we've spoken about draw length, let's say it's a 29 inch draw length. When you look through that chart, you will see what arrows they recommend. The number on the arrow is not the weight of the arrow. The number on the arrow is the actual spine, the flex of the arrow itself. So usually with a 70-pound bow, with a 29 inch draw length, anything from a 340 to a 300 spine would be advisable, depending on the point weight and the insert weight that you are going to shoot, and also what length arrow you are going to shoot. All those small things make a big difference. If you do need to change arrows, that is definitely going to help you and improve your accuracy, but that is where there is going to be a little bit of a cost that's going to play a factor. But when you do get arrows, make sure that the arrows that you select spin nicely. Even if they are rather inexpensive arrows, take a moment, just spin the arrows on an arrow spinner and select the best ones and ask them to build those arrows for you, and those arrows will be the better arrows of the bunch that will give you the accuracy that you want. Another small improvement that you can make is if you are using a Whisker Biscuit or a similar kind of rest, consider getting a drop away rest. Definitely something that will improve your accuracy. There are massive differences between expensive and cheap drop away rests. This is the AE Hawkeye, not an expensive rest at all. It is difficult to make the settings left and right and up and down versus some of the more expensive rests where you've got the micro adjustability function, where it's really easy to make the adjustments. And obviously the material, this Hawkeye has got a rather flimsy fork, which will not be a problem. It is definitely durable, whereas the more expensive rests will have a stronger Teflon or metal kind of fork and launcher that is definitely more durable. But a cheap drop away rest will almost always be more accurate than a Whisker Biscuit. All of these changes and improvements has to be paired with a bow that is tuned and that is properly set up. It goes without saying, but my bonus tip and the thought that I want to leave you with is none of this will work if you do not spend more time behind your bow. To improve your accuracy, make sure you practice and spend time behind your bow. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.